Easter's on its way and I am cooking up an entire brunch menu from the 1960s. Before I get started, I'd like to thank Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. I'll talk a little bit more about them later. So today's recipes come from Better Homes and Gardens, Lunches and Brunches, and this book was originally published in 1963. So I'm starting off with these orange blossom muffins. I was really intrigued by this crunchy good outside, delicate flavor inside, and I think it's always so nice to have some sort of muffin or breakfast bread that you can make ahead of time. So I have an egg. Woo! And I need to beat that just a little bit. It says slightly beaten. Combine slightly beaten egg with orange juice. I do have half a cup of orange juice here. I'm making the full recipe. Some orange marmalade. I really enjoy marmalade. It's raining outside today and I was hoping that these would give me a little bit of sunshine in my life. So I need to combine these things a little before I move on to the next step. So the other interesting thing about this recipe is that it uses biscuit. I've got 2 cups of biscuit here, and this is where it kind of strays from how I would normally do something like this. It says, add biscuit mix, beat vigorously for 30 seconds. So normally I'd do like a little folding thing, but this is not your average. This is not the same kind of deal. You know, it doesn't start like a lot of other muffin recipes I've tried. So I'm gonna beat this vigorously. And this mixer, I get a lot of questions about it. It does have a light, but it also has a timer on the top. So I can actually beat this for 30 seconds and it'll time it for me. All right, that is 30 seconds. I'm gonna scrape this, get the rest of that in there. Do one little final scoop and check. This recipe, I'm looking at it, you know, this is the amount of batter, and it says that it's supposed to make 16 muffins, but you only fill them half full. This just seems like not a lot of batter, but we'll find out soon. I have a couple of muffin tins here, and I think I would like to spray these with baking spray, mostly because there's not like a ton of like fat in these muffins, like butter or anything, oil. Does it say to do this? No. Do I want to do this? Yes. So I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do 1 tin to start. And that is the baking spray with the flour in it. That is the one type of spray I usually keep on hand. I think you've maybe heard me say before, I don't typically keep other cooking spray in hand, but I do like to have that sometimes. Half full on these. Let's just switch it so maybe I can let you see better. I will go ahead and fill these. Bloop, 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 bloop. We'll come back in a minute. My Thrive Market box just arrived and I'm so excited to show you what I got. Thank you to Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. If you don't know about Thrive Market, it's an online membership-based grocery store where you can buy food, personal care items, and household goods with guaranteed savings on every order. You can also filter through their catalog of products by diet, values, or lifestyle. Vegan, gluten-free, low FODMAP, products from family-owned businesses, ethically sourced products, they have it all. So I went for some pantry staples. I needed bay leaves, a little restock on some natural peanut butter. This one is a treat, this truffle mayonnaise. Got a couple of cans of coconut milk. This is always great to have on hand for a few dishes that I like to cook. 4-pack of this like rice and quinoa mix. This is also something that's super, super great to have on hand as a quick and easy side dish. This was something I was incredibly excited about. These are my favorite protein bars. These are great for like travel, just to have on hand for a quick snack. I have a hard time finding these in my area, and these were an especially great price, and it's a little variety pack. So I get a lot of different flavors in one go. These are the minis, okay? So I can't find the minis in my area anywhere. Usually I have to buy the full-sized ones. One of the reasons I like to travel with these is because they're not messy to eat. It's not covered in chocolate, it's not super crumbly. They're not messy, so you can eat them on a plane or on a road trip and it's not a big deal. You're not gonna get stuff everywhere. These are some of my favorite crackers. They are gluten-free. I don't eat gluten-free, but these are amazingly delicious. These are also delicious gluten-free snacks. Again, I don't eat them because I'm gluten-free. I eat them because they are very good. There are 2 ways to pay for your membership, either month to month or $60 annually. I recommend the annual membership because it works out to just $5 a month. With your membership, you'll save on every single order, and if you find one of the items at a lower price somewhere else, Thrive Market will match it. If you don't make back your $60 annual membership in savings, Thrive Market will credit you the difference. Click the link in my description box down below or go to thrivemarket.com/cookingthebooks to save 30% on your first order and receive a free gift worth up to $60 when you join Thrive Market today. Thank you again to Thrive Market for sponsoring this portion of today's video. So I tried to fill these roughly half full and I got 12 muffins instead of 16. This is just standard size. This is not like a jumbo muffin pan. I also decided, so the pink ones are the ones that I sprayed with a little baking spray, and then these white ones printed with hearts, I decided not to spray them just to see. You know, I want to do a little experiment and see how they turn out. I'm gonna make the topping. So it's like a nice little crumble topping. Something I forgot to mention, I decided not to put the pecans in these. You can include them if you want. Sometimes I like to make things with nuts, sometimes I don't. Combine sugar, flour, cinnamon, and nutmeg. There's my sugar, there's my flour, there's my cinnamon and my nutmeg. I'm just gonna whisk that with a fork a little bit. I have a tablespoon of butter here too. I just need to kind of cut these things together. I'm just using a fork until they make a nice little crumble topping. All right, so muffins, crumble topping. This goes here. All right, I have a little left. I'll use it on my oatmeal. So these go into a 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes. This menu that I'm kind of like basing everything on has a berry grapefruit cup, and that's, you know, there's no recipe, of course, it's just berries and grapefruit, but that is kind of what it looks like. I got red grapefruit, guys. So it's gonna be a very pink and red fruit cup. Also, not gonna supreme a grapefruit on camera. No. So I got a little bit of canned grapefruit. You know what? It's fine. I'm using this really great little dessert coupe that I picked up, I don't know, somewhere in one of my antique store excursions, but it's from Federal Glass. I only have one, but I thought, how cute would this be? But I'm gonna use like the less than perfect grapefruit pieces, which is most of them, kind of to make a base here. So let's just put some strawberries in there and then I'll kind of mix it up. Oh yeah, I have these little like hand tongs. I got these at Walmart years ago. You know what? They're not the greatest at grabbing things. It's more like you're using a claw machine. You know what? We're just gonna spoon. You could probably use whatever fruit that you really want to. Grapefruit and strawberry probably taste pretty good together. I would probably go like pineapple because I think that, you know, since I didn't get regular white grapefruit, it would probably look really nice so that there's some kind of contrast between the strawberries. Yeah, there's not really any perfect pieces in here. That's okay. So I'm just gonna like throw some strawberries on top. Gently throw them. And now I actually get to use my little dessert coupe here. So I'm gonna chill this and get ready to prepare my main course. Okay, main dish time. This is it. This is called a cheese-filled omelet. In my mind, it's a souffle layer cake. So you're gonna make 2 separate souffles and then you make this cheese sauce, which is just like any other cheese sauce. I've made a million of them. And that's like your icing. You kind of put some in between the 2 layers and then you put some on top. I don't know if this is gonna work, but has it ever stopped me before? Absolutely not. So we'll see. I don't know. It's not a big deal. I'm not actually making this for Easter brunch for anybody. It's just me. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I'll figure something out, right? Let's go. So I have 4 egg yolks in this bowl. I'm going to attempt to cut this in half. So I have 4 egg yolks in here, and to that I'm adding my flour and a dash of pepper. I have to beat all of this together until it is very thick. I would say that is very thick. So now I have my egg whites in this metal bowl. I kind of let my eggs sit because from my experience, it is easier to whip egg whites when they're not freezing cold from the refrigerator. Beat whites till frothy. We're gonna get these a little frothy. I switched out the beaters to my wire whisks and let's give this a try. So we're not beating until stiff peaks form just yet. We're getting them a little frothy. There's some bubbles happening. I'm gonna go a little bit longer. Okay, so it's kind of like, you know, like bubble bath, right? Like little clear bubbles. And now I have to add the water and salt. And now I have to beat these until they are stiff but not dry. All right, success. I love this mixer. because it has two of these little wire whisks on it. A lot of the mixers that I've seen or had, maybe if you're lucky, you get one, and it just made this happen very quickly. Also, new development, there's a thunderstorm again. Amazing. We've had all kinds of weather today. Fold the yolks into the whites gently but thoroughly. You gotta be gentle. It's deflating, I know it is, but you know, you expect a little bit of deflating to happen when you're doing this. Next up. Usually when I've made souffle before, you grease the dishes, which by the way, I'm using small Pyrex casserole dishes instead of the cake pan that they recommend. They recommend 2 round 8-inch cake pans. Usually, like if I've made souffle, you grease it and then you put like breadcrumbs or Parmesan or something. For this recipe, it says I have to use 2 well-greased hot cake pans, or I'm using casserole dishes. I just let these preheat with the oven. We're gonna pile this in here as best we can. This one's a little taller, you know, I didn't have 2 exactly the same size casserole dishes. I'm gonna try to smooth it a little. I know the idea is to get these out of here, and I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't know if we're gonna have a layer cake. I'm gonna try. So now I need to bake these at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes or until done. So now I'm making their cheese sauce, very similar to just about every cheese sauce I've made. And I'm gonna make the full recipe on this because I feel like, you know, extra cheese sauce, I'm gonna find a way to use it, right? Don't wanna be skimpy on the cheese sauce. All right, so I have some butter here that I'm gonna melt. I've gotten a lot of questions lately about this small saucepan, mostly like, where did I get it and what size is it? This is a 1.5 quart saucepan. I think I got it either from Costco or Amazon. The brand you can kind of see is Tramontina. It's just a stainless steel 1.5 quart saucepan. It's great because if I have to make a small amount of something, I often use it. It's a nice size to have. If I can find it, I'll link it in the description down below for you. So my butter is all melted. I'm gonna blend in my flour. And you wanna cook this for a little bit until the flour taste is gone. That's, you know, flour is raw until you cook it. And I always do that in my videos, but because someone had mentioned recently that I need to cook it longer, I don't always keep the entire whisking process in the video. I edit it out because if I kept every mix, every whisk, every time I washed my hands, the whole process, my videos would probably be twice as long. So I'm gonna whisk this until it is cooked before I add my milk. So now I'm adding a cup of milk, a little bit awkwardly with my left hand. And I have to whisk this until it is thickened. Right, so right now I have white sauce. It has thickened. You will feel it happen. You will see it happen. And now I'm gonna add some sharp cheddar cheese. This is 1 cup of sharp cheddar cheese. Just stir that in until it is melted. Starting to roll now because this has all got to happen very fast as soon as I get these out of the oven. So I would be pretty dang happy with how these look if they stayed in here. But now I have to try to get them out. And to do so, I have a selection of what looks like surgical tools over here. I'm gonna kind of like cut around the edge with this very pointy. Oh, okay. It's like lifting away from the edge. That's why these dishes needed to be hot. Well, I'm just gonna try to tip it. Luckily, these have handles on them, which is kind of nice. It's coming out, it's coming out. Look. What? Okay, this is working. So I'm gonna spoon some of my cheese sauce in the middle. I think I do wanna spread this a little bit so it kind of like cascades over the edge like a cake. I cannot believe that this is kind of working, if not fully working. Wow. So let's see if we have the same luck with this one. This one I didn't get as clean of an edge. I kind of went over the top. Okay, I need my other glove. Yeah, it is coming out. Can I like aim it? Whoa. Oh no, okay, wait. Don't do it. Oh right, saved it. This is why I like to have all my tools and then some kind of spread out around me. It looks like a weird sandwich. And I don't know how impressive this actually is. I don't really have anything to garnish it, so I think I'm just gonna crack some fresh pepper on top and call it a day. but you know, I'd probably do some like chives. That would be nice. Don't have chives. It kind of worked. It's a little lopsided, who cares? I'm gonna be very gentle, but I did it. Check that out. Wow, what a journey. So I haven't cut the souffle yet, but here's the whole thing. I'm going to kind of compare a baking sprayed muffin to a non-baking sprayed one. And of course, just my little fruit cup, right? Well, I made the muffins first, so let's start there. So I'm gonna attempt to peel each one. This is the one that I didn't have any baking spray on. Apparently I used two muffin cups, muffin liners. Not gonna lie, this is not coming away very, very easily. And in fact, I think the bottom part, yeah, the bottom part's gonna stick. Yeah, oh no. So this is just a paper muffin liner and I did not spray. And then, so I might as well just do this in front of the camera. Let's see if this one does any better. So the reason that I sprayed some of them is because there wasn't really like oil or anything in the muffin mix. This is working a lot better. Can you see like how easily? So I would recommend if you're gonna try to make these muffins, spray the liners. So I'm gonna kind of like wrap this one back up a little bit and just probably eat it for breakfast. I'll try the one that's like less attractive at the moment. Smells good, smells good, a little orangey. Definitely taste that orange coming through, that like citrusy tartness. They taste really good. I personally feel like I can tell that there's Bisquick in there, and I don't know if it's just because I've made so many recipes with Bisquick, but they taste good. I would make these again for sure. The texture is not quite as light as what I am used to, but overall I think they're like a really good, easy thing to make, especially if you like have Bisquick on hand and you've got all the ingredients and stuff like that. So other than the orange juice and the marmalade, there's not like separate sugar inside the muffin. It's just like the crumbly stuff on top, but it's a very good mix of flavors. And also like, I love anything that you can make ahead of time. There's a little bit of a crunchiness. It says like, remember that the description said something about like crunchy on the outside. I think they must mean like the crunchy topping, like the sugary, crispy topping for the crunchiness. Okay. I mean, it's strawberries and grapefruit, but I'm gonna try it anyway. It's nice, it's cold, it's fruit, it tastes good. I like this all together. Very refreshing. So that brings us to my souffle. Let's get like one last shot of it, or try to, before I cut it. And there's a very specific way to cut this according to the recipe. And it says to perforate it with 2 forks. I think what they mean is like this. I think they want you to like do this. So technically this is supposed to be 3 servings. I'm not gonna attempt to cut this into like 3s. So I'm just gonna do 4ths. I don't know that this is doing anything special. Oh well, I'll follow what they say anyway. I think it's sort of like an attempt to not deflate it, but it's not, it's fine. It's just me. Not that I'm not special. I am deserving of an undeflated souffle. I made a tiny little wedge. Oh, it doesn't look too bad inside. I'd say that's pretty fluffy, right? Fluffy and jiggly. I cannot wait to try this. I kind of can't believe it kind of worked. Actually, I mean, I keep saying kind of worked. It worked. It did. I did it. It worked. It's eggs and cheese. I love eggs. I love cheese. I love eggs and cheese. So yeah, I like this a lot. This was actually supposed to be my lunch. Wishful thinking. It's like 4 o'clock now. So I am pretty hungry. That's delightful. This is so much better than I thought it was gonna be. I was like, I'm gonna put all of this effort in for lackluster results, but I think this is delicious. It wasn't that hard to do. I was nervous. I don't know, egg whites make me nervous. It's like a cheesy, eggy cloud. I'm totally into it. This was a success. I'm thrilled. I'm over the moon that I was able to do this. Better Homes and Gardens, Lunches and Brunches was published originally in 1963. And it is part of the Better Homes and Gardens Creative Cooking Library. This is maybe one of my favorites, probably my favorite actually, eras of the Better Homes and Gardens books. I like to just call them the skinny colorful books. So there's 8. I did complete my set of 8. I was looking for, I think it was like children's parties and family gatherings. That one was hard for me to find. It's my favorite time period. It's my favorite era of Better Homes and Gardens because of these wonderful photographs that appear throughout the book, that appear on the back of the book. Also, Apologies for the glare, but the shininess of this cookbook actually does serve a purpose. They were promoted as being wipeable. And I mean, that's why sometimes I'm sitting in front of a window, you get a little bit of a glare, but yeah, it's a very glossy cover on this cookbook. And you are able to purchase these at grocery stores. I don't actually know how much they were. I have maybe one or two that have original price tags on them. I bet they probably weren't more than a couple of dollars at the time. I just absolutely love them. They have a lot of colorful photographs, not just of the food, but of like place settings. They include entire menus, which is, you know, what I based my Easter brunch menu on today. I just absolutely love them. I think I have maybe made a video about this one before. I think, this might have been where there was like a spinach bake or something that I made when we lived in California. I think it was from this book. So let's just do a little flip through, shall we? Very tempting, very tempting. This is like a big salad platter. And I don't know, some kind of strawberry dessert that looks amazing. These are chicken croquettes. They look a little bit different than the chicken croquettes that I made. They look kind of like snow-capped mountains to me. I remember showing this in the other video that I made about this book, but I'm gonna show it again. Gorgeous, like absolutely amazing. It's so beautiful. I love this blue. I love the white fringe. I love the white polka dots. Everything is just so beautifully set up and beautifully coordinated. And look at that. Oh, it's one of those like blue glass chickens. I think everybody's grandma or mother had the blue, or not even the blue, just one of the like glass chickens in their kitchen. This book is lunches, it is brunches. A lot of these dishes you could probably make for other occasions as well. But that's another thing I love about these books is that they have menus in them. I love a menu. I feel like it really gives me a chance to sort of try to recreate an entire meal that was kind of set in this time a little bit. So just to show you some of the menus, there's several across the top here. They appear in those boxes. So there's the Bridge Club luncheon for 3 ladies. That's very specific, luncheon for 3 ladies. After shopping special, and something called Lady Fare. Now that I'm looking at the Lady Fare menu, the herbed spinach bake is in there. So that's the herb spinach bake I made in the other video where I covered this book. That was quite a while ago, so I will leave a link in the description down below if you haven't watched it yet. Brunches, we come to the brunch chapter. Doesn't it look tempting? Just everything is so colorful and so tempting in here. And it's kind of like showcases this abundance. There's like nothing minimal whatsoever about this spread or about this table. So I will always love these skinny, colorful Better Homes and Gardens books. I love Better Homes and Gardens books in general, but these are my favorite for sure. Let's talk about the menu today. It is from the Brunches section. This photograph contains at least a couple of the things that I put together today. So when I was starting to try to come up with ideas for this video, come up with recipes, I kind of started here with this Easter morning menu. I didn't follow it exactly. There's quite a bit of food on there, and there's only a couple of actual recipes in the book that are on this menu. I'm gonna go a little bit out of order. My starting point was the cheese-filled omelet. So that is their version of the cheese-filled omelet. And truly, I am amazed that I pulled that one off. I'm not even a new cook. I feel like some people think that I'm like brand new to cooking. I've actually been cooking for a really long time. It's just that I am trying these recipes for the first time on camera. You know, if I were making a recipe that I had just like made over and over and over again a million times and then filmed that, it would look a little different than me trying to make something for the first time. I find egg whites in general pretty, they make me a little anxious. So I probably should have had a little more confidence in myself, but this was really delicious. It was a little fussy, I'm gonna admit. If it were me and I were doing like a morning holiday brunch, I probably would do like an egg casserole, but this was very tasty. So if you're feeling a little ambitious, you know, maybe don't pull it out for the holidays. Maybe give it a shot on just some random like Saturday morning or something. Or, you know, this would be a great like meatless dinner, I think, as well. One thing I wanted to mention, growing up there's no way I'd ever eaten an Easter brunch. We always had holiday meals at my grandma and grandpa's house. It was always at lunchtime and it was always at 12 noon on the dot. You had to be there on time because you didn't want Louise to get mad at you. Louise was my grandma. We had all of those big family gatherings at their house, and every meal whether it be a holiday meal or like a Sunday lunch, like it was 12 noon. That is always when there was no question. So, you know, Easter brunch was not a thing that happened until I was an adult. So the next recipe, I mean, it's not really a recipe, it's a berry grapefruit cup. It was very refreshing, I have to say. I don't always think about grapefruit. I really like grapefruit, I do. It's tart, it's a little sour. I don't know. I like grapefruit flavored things as well. So like Fresca, I love Fresca. Yeah, grapefruit and strawberries together were really good. I just mixed them together and I chilled them. So refreshing, such a good combination to go with this meal. So that brings me to the orange blossom muffins. I wanted to do a baked good with this menu because I thought it fit in really well. What they suggested were hot cross buns, which I understand that's like a very traditional thing to have around Easter. I kind of looked at the recipe that was in here. I wasn't completely sold on it. It used hot roll mix, which I do, you know, have access to. You can still buy hot roll mix, but I was a little afraid that the package of hot roll mix that they would have used back in the 60s was possibly a little different from what I have access to today. And some of the instructions aren't like super, just the way the instructions are, it didn't make me feel very confident in using a hot roll mix to make something like that, you know. So I decided to choose something else and I chose the orange blossom muffins. I thought they were kind of interesting because they used biscuit. So these were very easy to make. I don't know that they were really any easier to make than if you just use like flour and like baking powder, salt. They did taste very good. I love orange. I think they complemented like the rest of the menu very well. I love orange marmalade too. It gave me an excuse to buy a jar of orange marmalade. I'm happy. The texture, I don't know what it is. I'm not saying this like in a negative way. Like Bisquick baked goods tend to have like a slightly different texture to me. So it wasn't quite as light, I guess, as if you would just make muffins with like regular flour and stuff. And it has like a very specific taste. Not a bad taste. It's just like I can usually tell in some of the baked goods that I've made that there's Bisquick in it. Take that, however, they were very tasty. They were still very good. I would make them again if I have Bisquick in the cabinet. I was just very pleasantly surprised with this menu. I never go into things thinking, oh, this is gonna be terrible, but you know, sometimes unexpected things happen or you know, I can kind of tell maybe things are gonna go a little south, but this one, like, I was so happy with it. I was thrilled. I am curious though, what type of foods do you eat on Easter? Do you have an Easter brunch and then maybe a bigger meal in the evening? Are you a ham family, a hamily, or do you eat lamb? Like, what do you have? I'd love to hear about it. I'd like to once again thank Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. Click the link in my description box down below or go to thrivemarket.com/cookingthebooks for 30% off your first order and a free gift worth up to $60. If you love cookbooks and recipes from the 1960s, I have an entire playlist and I'll link it in the description down below. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.